She believes that too many professionals and teams are viewing challenges through the wrong lens, reacting with stress, negativity, and self criticism instead of intentional purpose, clarity, and joy. And right now, more than ever, organizations and leaders who can shift organizations need leaders who can shift perspective to spark creativity, resilience, and results. Meet Laura Harstad, speaker, trainer, and joy catalyst. Laura brings contagious energy and actionable clarity to every stage. As a global brand photographer and mindset speaker, she helps people and teams see themselves and their challenges in a new, more confident way. She draws from decades of experience in nonprofit leadership, education, and entrepreneurship to create her signature Shift the Lens framework, a practical, joy filled approach to transforming how we think, communicate, and lead. Over the next 10 minutes, you're going to learn how to reframe obstacles into opportunities and focus on what truly matters. And what you might not know about Laura is she's lived in 3 different countries and traveled to 5 continents. When she's not speaking or training, she's homeschooling, God bless her, her 2 boys, directing a community of homeschool choir, leading a joy circle for Christian women, and living life with bold joy. Here to share with you how to shift the lens. Please help me welcome with your happy hands, Miss Laura Harstad.
Thank you so much. Do you know one of the most essential tools in photography? It is having the right lens. I photographed a wedding this summer and I was constantly changing the lens. I would choose one lens to get those up close shots, rings or flowers, or I'd put on the wide angle lens to get that big family photo, or a zoom lens so I could capture grandma smiling all the way across the reception hall. And trust me, you don't want to miss the adorable grandma shot. Those are the best. And at weddings, everything is happening at once. And if you have on the wrong lens, you might miss that magical moment. And every time I switched lenses, it gave me a completely new perspective. Well, your mindset works the same way. The mental lens that you choose directly impacts your thoughts, your emotions, and the action that you take next. So let me ask you something. Have you ever had one of those days where something went wrong and you just can't stop thinking about it? It just is swirling around your brain. You feel your stress level rising. There's a weight on your shoulders and you just can't dig out of that negativity. But then later you look at that situation and you realize it wasn't the situation causing you to feel all of that negativity. It was the lens that you were choosing to look through. But why does this matter? It matters because the moment that you realize you have the power to look at a situation in a different way, you take back control and you turn what looks like an obstacle into an opportunity. And this is so powerful. But let's try it out. Let's try on 2 different lenses. Lens number 1. I failed. I am never going to be able to do this. Just what emotion is that bringing up in you right now? What is that making you feel if you put on that lens? I failed. Now remember that feeling. Let's put on lens number 2. This is simply information. It's not a failure. I can learn from this experience for the next time that I try. All right, now what emotion are you feeling as you put on the second lens? When you think about these 2 different lenses, I would love for you to drop a 1 or 2 in the chat. Which one just feels lighter to you? Lens number 1 or lens number 2? Excellent. I was going to say if I saw a 1 in the chat, we'd have to have a talk later. So Nothing changed in the situation. You don't even know what situation I was talking about. You simply shifted the lens. Even a small change or a shift in the lens can affect how you think about a situation, what you feel, and the action that you take next. One of my favorite examples of this is Walt Disney. You may not know that early in his career, he was fired by a newspaper editor who said, and I quote, he lacked imagination and had no good ideas. Not long after that, his first animation studio went bankrupt. Now imagine if he had accepted this lens and thought to himself, I must not be cut out for this. I should probably pursue a different path. But thankfully, he didn't. He shifted his lens. He didn't give up. And not long after that, he created Mickey Mouse. And that led to a lifetime of sharing magical stories with the world. And that is the power that you have too. The power to shift your lens and turn an obstacle into an opportunity, just like Walt Disney did. And look at Michael Jordan. When he was in high school, he did not make the high school varsity team. Can you believe that? That day, he went home, he went into his bedroom, and he admits that he cried for hours. He was devastated. But he didn't let that stop him. He put on the lens of success, and he worked hard and became the star of the JV team. And the rest is history. Later on, Michael Jordan said that getting cut was the best thing that happened to him. He used it as motivation. He would later say, I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. And the lens that you choose directly impacts your next steps, just like Michael Jordan and Walt Disney. Are you choosing a lens that accepts failure or opens the door to success? And you might be thinking, this sounds great, but how do I shift the lens in the moment? Well, I'm going to give you just 2 easy questions that you can ask yourself when you feel like your thoughts are taking you off course. Question number 1, is what I'm thinking 100% true? And question number 2, am I focusing on what I can control? Now let's dive into these 2 questions so you can just see the amazing transformation that you'll experience when you just shift the lens. So question 1, is what I'm thinking 100% true? Not very long ago, I applied to speak at a TEDx event, and I was so excited. It is my dream to be on that stage, and I thought I had a wonderful idea, and I had a really, really great chance of being selected as a speaker. It felt right. And so not long after I applied, I got the email, and I knew it was from them, and I opened it, and I was not selected to be a speaker. So in that moment, my default lens wanted to say to me, you must not be a good speaker, or you don't have a good idea. You probably won't ever be on a TEDx stage. And if I had listened to that default lens, I may never apply to speak at a TEDx event again. But instead, I asked myself, is it 100% true that I'm not a good speaker or that I don't have a good topic? No, I love speaking. I love inspiring people and motivating them to have more joy in their life. And my topic, I have to tell you, when I first thought of it, I actually cried. So I know it's powerful, and I know that other people need to hear this idea worth spreading, but it might need a little work, and that's okay. So I chose the lens, I am not a failure. I actually did something that not very many people do. I applied to speak at a TEDx event, and that is something that I can celebrate. And I gained constructive feedback from the event organizers, so I can apply that, learn, and apply to speak again in the future. So when you are faced with a setback, what is your default lens? Just think about that. Do you see the obstacle or the opportunity? And then the second question that I mentioned, ask yourself, am I focusing on what I can control? As a photographer, what I focus on when I'm taking pictures literally is what sharpens that area. There is a spot in the picture that will be sharper than the rest, and the rest gets blurry. And I need to intentionally choose what I put into focus. And the same thing happens with our mindset. What we focus on directly impacts how we think, what we feel, and what we do. And if we stay focused on things that we have no control over, like other people's opinions or our past mistakes, rejection that we might have experienced, fear of the unknown, that blurs our mindset and we lose that clarity and that confidence to move forward. But when we focus on what is in our control, the picture becomes a lot clearer and we are able to take action. So instead of thinking, what if I fail? Shift the lens to, what can I learn? Because that first question usually just leads to stress eating, and we don't want that. So shift the lens to something that's proactive. And ask yourself, what am I focusing on right now? Is it helping me move forward? Or is it keeping me stuck? And don't waste energy focusing on things you can't control or that you can't change. Instead, focus on where you can take action. I'd like you to think of a challenge that you are facing right now. So just try to bring one challenge into your brain right now. And what do you think your current or default lens is as you're thinking about that challenge that you're facing? Now ask yourself those two questions. Is what I'm thinking about this 100% true? Am I focusing on what I can control? So I'd like a quick show of hands. Who can think of even just one situation where shifting the lens could help? Yes, I agree. When you shift the lens, you change what's possible. So remember, you are the one holding the camera of your mindset. What lens are you going to choose?